Good morning and welcome to the Anne Arundel County Delegation Meeting. I'm Delegate Heather Bagnall, Chair of the delegation, with Vice Chair Delegate Dana Jones. Congratulations, we are officially 1/3 of the way through session. And before we conduct further business, I would ask everyone to welcome Delegate Mike Rogers from District 32, who will be leading our pledge and our prayer today.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And for the prayer, I would just ask today, as Solomon in the Old Testament asked for wisdom of all things that he could have asked, before he asked for wisdom. So I just ask, Heavenly Father, that you give us the wisdom today to make good decisions for our constituents and for Marylanders. And we ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Thank you very much, Delegate. We are mixing things up a bit today, so we're going to hold our vote before further introductions. We've arrived at the part of session where our members have to be in multiple places at once. And also many of our committees thought we had late nights, and then Judiciary said, hold my gavel. So I'd like to be able to give our members a bit of a breather before floor today, if possible. To our members, the order of voting will be roll call for the record, then House Bill 193, which we heard on January 19th, House Bill 573, which we heard on January 26th, a report from the Education Subcommittee, which met on the bills we heard last week, and then a vote on House Bill 881. Mr. Secretary, if you can call the roll for the record.
All right, roll. Vice Chair Jones.
Yay.
Delegate Barnes. Delegate Bartlett.
Aye.
Delegate Chang.
Yes.
Delegate Chisholm.
Yes.
Delegate Henson.
Present.
Delegate Howard.
Yes.
Delegate Kipke.
Yes.
Delegate Lehman.
Yes.
Delegate Munoz. Delegate Pena-Melnick.
Yes.
Delegate Pruski.
Here.
Delegate Rogers is here. Delegate Smith.
Here.
Yes. Yes.
Delegate Simmons.
Yes.
Chair Bagnall.
Yes.
We have quorum.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary. First on the vote list is House Bill 193. This is the Anne Arundel County speed limits. As a reminder, this is enabling legislation which would allow Anne Arundel County to lower the speed limit on highways for the purposes of public safety. The bill also stipulates that the county is prohibited from utilizing speed cameras at locations where the speed limit has been reduced. We held the bill for more information on the notification process, which the good delegate shared with our delegation. And with that, can I have a motion on the bill?
Move favorable.
Second.
Second.
All right, bill has been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, if you can call the roll.
This vote is for House Bill 193, Anne Arundel County, speed limits establishment. Vice Chair Jones.
Yes.
Delegate Barnes. Delegate Bartlett.
Yes.
Delegate Chang. Delegate Chang.
Yes.
Delegate Chisholm.
No.
Delegate Henson.
Yes.
Delegate Howard.
Yes.
Delegate Kipke.
Yes.
Delegate Lehman.
Yes.
Delegate Munoz. Delegate Pena-Melnick.
Yes.
Delegate Pruski.
Yes.
Delegate Rogers.
Yes.
Delegate Smith.
Yes.
Delegate Simmons.
Yes.
Chair Bagnall.
Yes.
By a vote of 14-0 with 2 absent, the motion passes.
Mr. Secretary, can you confirm that was unanimous?
Yes, it was 14-0 with 2 absent. I'll recall Delegate Barnes. Delegate Munoz. 14-0 with 2 absent. It passes.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. House Bill 193 passes. House Bill 573, Citizens Committee for the Enhancement of Communities Surrounding Baltimore Washington International Thurgood Marshall Airport membership. This bill updates the statute to allow the delegate from the newly created District 12B to nominate a resident of 12B to sit on the committee. Are there any questions or discussions? Can I have a motion on the bill?
Move favorable.
Second.
Second.
All right, bill has been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, if you can call the roll.
This vote is for House Bill 573, Citizens Committee for the Enhancement of Communities Surrounding Baltimore Washington International Thurgood Marshall Airport membership. Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Delegate Barnes, Delegate Bartlett,
Yes.
Delegate Chang,
Yes.
Delegate Chisholm,
Yes.
Delegate Henson,
Yes.
Delegate Howard,
Yes.
Delegate Kipke,
Yes.
Delegate Lehman,
Yes.
Delegate Munoz, Delegate Pena Melnick,
Yes.
Delegate Pruski,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Smith,
Yes.
Delegate Simmons,
Yes.
Chair Bagnall.
Yes.
By a delegation vote of 14-0 with 2 absent, the motion passes.
All right, House Bill 573 passes unanimously also. Delegate Simmons, I'm going to turn to you. Delegate Simmons is our co-chair of the Education Subcommittee. If you could give us a brief report on the work of the subcommittee.
Yes,
your
thank you, Madam Chair. We've had the opportunity to meet recently to discuss a few requests from our school district. One of them is dealing with Anne Arundel County Public Schools request to do an alternate school schedule from K through 12. The committee has met on it and agreed to move that forward. We had no objections to it. So we look forward to working with Anne Arundel County Public Schools in their flex schedule. This is something that Dr. Bedell and the school board is trying to champion in how we are educating our children and will allow for a better flex schedule for participation also from our teacher staff. So we look forward to working with our school district as we continue to build on that. Dealing with House Bill 541, the subcommittee would like to have more information regarding to the affordability of it. Obviously, like I said, we voted favorable for the recommendation for the vote by our delegation. The House Bill 327 is mute. The House delegation had already voted this out for favorable. So with that, it was a conclusion of our bill hearing. We had obviously delegate, let's see, in attendance was members Bartlett, myself, Pruski, Chisholm, and Muniz that was present for this. So we are looking forward to continue to do the work of our subcommittee on education, championing our school districts and also our college.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your work. And also thank you to your co-chair, Delegate Bartlett, and all the members of the Education Subcommittee. With that, we're going to go ahead and move to our vote on House Bill 881 based on the recommendation of the Education Subcommittee. Once again, this is the Anne Arundel County Public Schools Innovative Scheduling Pilot Program. Can I get a motion on the bill?
I make a motion.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Mr. Secretary, if you can call the roll.
This vote is for House Bill 881, Anne Arundel County Public Schools Innovative Scheduling Pilot Program. Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Delegate Barnes, Delegate Bartlett,
Yes.
Delegate Chang,
Yes.
Delegate Chisholm,
Yes.
Delegate Henson,
Yes.
Delegate Howard,
No.
Delegate Kipke,
Yes.
Delegate Lehman,
Yes.
Delegate Munoz, Delegate Pena Melnick,
Yes.
Delegate Pruski,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Smith,
Yes.
Delegate Simmons,
Yes.
Chair Bagnall.
Yes.
By a vote of 13-1 with 2 absent, the bill passes.
Thank you very much. So House Bill 881 passes not unanimously, and we are going to hold over House Bill 541 for more information. We'll make sure to send letters to the appropriate committees following this meeting. I wanted to turn to Madam Vice Chair. I know you had an announcement about the ongoing clothing drive for the House of Ruth.
Thank you so much, Chairwoman. Quickly, just wanted to thank all of you who have already donated to the House of Ruth. As you know, as first Vice President of the Women's Caucus of Maryland, every year in the name of Martin Luther King Jr., I spearhead a clothing drive for those survivors of domestic violence and their children. This has been a huge success. So thank you so much, but it is not over. This Monday is our last day. So wanted a quick reminder, if anyone had any gently used women's clothing or children's clothing, handbags are also accepted at my office or at the Women's Caucus room over in the Miller Senate room 144 up until Monday close of business. I wanted to, again, thank you. So that's it.
All right, thank you very much, Madam Vice Chair. I also wanted to take this opportunity to welcome our senators, Senator Dawn Guile from District 33, Senator Pam Beidle from District 32, Senator Brian Simonaire from District 31, Senator Sarah Elfreth from District 30, Senator Jim Rosapet from District 21, and Senator Clarence Lamb from District 12. We also want to welcome our guests watching on the live stream. We have the Anne Arundel County chapter of the AARP, Virginia Crespo from the Maryland Retired Teachers Association, Hannah Dyer and Ethan Hunt from the County Executive Stuart Pittman's office, Jessica Cook from the office of Senator Cardin, Jessica Clayton from the office of Senator Van Hollen, Alderwoman Rhonda Pindell Charles representing Ward 3 in the city of Annapolis, and Bridget Smith from the office of Congressman John Sarbanes. I also want to recognize our counsel, Matt Carpenter, our delegation secretary, Roger Massey, my chief of staff, Rory Nolan, and Josh Paper, chief of staff to Vice Chair Jones, who are providing technical support for the meeting. As a reminder, all of our delegation meetings will be on Zoom due to space constraints. Next up in our agenda, we have a bill hearing on House Bill 668. This is the Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Salary. Delegate Pruski, if you would like to introduce the bill and your panel.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and I am the panel. I actually will give a little bit of background. This bill was introduced by this same House several years ago and actually passed. But I want to give you the background on why and the impact. So first of all, this bill, HB 668, alters the salary of Anne Arundel County Sheriff to be equivalent to the salary of a captain in the Anne Arundel County Police Department at step 20. A lot of people don't know this, but they're in the Maryland Constitution. You cannot get a pay raise while in office. So I want to make that clear that this is something that would not go into effect until the next election. In addition, to give a little bit of background, the sheriff's salary in Anne Arundel County has not been changed for several years. If you look at history, it was in 2014 when it was last updated. So there obviously hasn't been a significant piece. Other counties have taken action in regards to sheriff's salary. But the fiscal note, if you read it, will not have any impact immediately because you cannot increase the salary from what's listed. Again, step 20 was what was in the bill, or was not listed in the bill, but is the captain's salary. They have now added steps 21 through 25. So this is actually not the top of the scale. This is the same vein that I'm using that was brought in front of this House and the House passed for this bill. And certainly the responsibilities of the sheriff also increased along with the staff. And again, there's no one-to-one equivalency, unfortunately, with a captain. But that's kind of the background of the bill, and certainly happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I believe you were muted.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Delegate Howard, you go ahead.
So thank you very much. And thank you very much for the bill. I know, at least I've been made aware that the actual sheriff's salaries compared to adjacent jurisdictions, there's a large disparity there. Does that bill handle that, or is that just for the elected sheriff position?
Great question, Delegate Howard. This is only for the sheriff's salary. This is not deputy sheriff. This is not other things. Obviously, that comes down through negotiations with the council, but this is only the sheriff's salary. I'd have to look, but I don't know statutory wise we could actually set that, because those are really positions between the sheriff negotiation with the council, obviously state. But no, this is really geared towards just the Anne Arundel sheriff's salary himself.
All right. Well, Delegate, I'm glad you brought the bill, and I just hope that moving forward, that when we're past, not us, but as we're looking at legislation to increase the actual sheriff's salary, they're making sure that there isn't a large salary disparity between, kind of our men and women on the ground in these adjacent jurisdictions. So, and I know that there's a pretty large disparity there. And I just hope that they would correct that moving forward. So, but I really do appreciate you bringing the bill. I look forward to supporting it. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Howard. Delegate Chisholm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a point of information, make sure I've got this right. So right now, it looks like I'm looking at the physical note that we moved it to 133,000 in 2015. And if we pass this, it can go to 167,383 with whomever the next sheriff is. And is it, and my last part of that question, is it enabling? Does the county council have to approve it then and say, okay, we're gonna accept this and move it up? We're just giving them the authority to move it to 167, or are we mandating they move it to 167?
Great question, Delegate Chisholm. The way the state is set up is each county, or through statutory, set the sheriff's salary, because technically it's considered kind of a sheriff position. I know Matt Carpenter's shaking his head. If I'm saying something wrong here, he'll fill me in. But same vein of Delegate Howard's question, deputy sheriff's personnel, that's done at their level. But when it comes to the sheriff's salary, due to the Maryland Constitution, we set that salary. I believe we also do it for other positions as well, but particularly for sheriff, we set it, and that's what comes in the bill. And if you look at the history, as I said, for 2014-15, this has kind of come up, but nobody's really touched it. You know what I mean? It's been stagnant, and that's why we're looking at this, because other counties have taken action. And I think that when you're trying to benchmark, the reason why captain was chosen, and I can't speak for the prior sponsor of this bill, but certainly you look at the responsibility, right? A captain, we have Western, Northern, Southern, Eastern districts. We also have captains that have special units. So you try and match up the number of people they're overseeing. It's not a one-to-one, but you want to make sure whatever they're responsible for is how the salary thing, and that's the kind of the background in terms of why that was chosen, see what's there. But specifically to answer your question, this is set by state, and this is what would be mandated.
And I'm sure Matt would confirm this, but I'm assuming that's just because that's an elected position, and that's why we oversee it, as opposed to any deputy sheriff or anything like that. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you bringing the bill.
Thank you, Delegate Chisholm. Mr. Carpenter, do you want to just confirm that for us?
Yeah, confirmed.
Okay, thank you. Now we've got it on record. Any further questions on this bill? Delegate Chisholm, did you have another question, or your hand still? Okay, perfect. This bill will be on the voting list for next week. So thank you very much. And with that, we are going to conclude our bill hearings, and we are going to welcome our guests. Our first guest today is Gavin Buckley, Mayor of Annapolis. And Mr. Mayor, if you would like to introduce your team. Mr. Mayor, do we have you here? Oh, there we go. I see you unmuting.
He's here. There you go, Gavin. Give me your phone.
Thanks.
Welcome,
Hey.
Mr. Mayor, to the Anne Arundel County delegation.
Right. Thank you so much for having me. Just did the school drop off, so I apologize. Well, great to be back with you all. I feel like your family now. I've only got less than 2 years left, so thank you all for the support you've given the city of Annapolis in my time in office. The first time I came in front of you guys, I was very intimidated. I think today, now we all know each other pretty well. So today we're here about setting the pace for Maryland. I have a slideshow with you. I have the city manager on the line as well. Anyone else?
Mike Mel, just Mike.
Just Mike Malinoff. Mike, if you don't want to introduce yourself, if you're on.
But we're not presenting yet, the slide. They need to share the.
So if you could, I know I've only got 15 minutes and I've probably wasted 3 already. So I have a slide deck that I'd like to bring up if I can. You know, pictures really matter here.
You should be able to share your screen now.
Are you sharing the screen? Yeah.
Nope, not yet.
Mayor, you're better when you're not stationary.
You moving these?
Okay, we can see it.
You moving?
There you go. Nope, you're just gonna push that forward button.
Which one?
Yep.
Today we're here about talking about Annapolis and Annapolis setting the pace. So we're here to talk about 3 things. First of all, before we move on, just want to say thank you for keeping the $3 million in the budget for the City Dock project. The City Dock Reimagined is a national leading project. This $3 million will put the state into the project for $18 million, and a huge thank you from the city of Annapolis. This is a $90 million project. It is less than a quarter of what the project is costing, including the garage, but it is a project for the next 50 years. Our city dock has been many things. We know that. It's been from a slave port to a port people came to the New World and made their fortunes, to a place where men and women worked the water. Oyster houses were here, crab picking warehouses were here, fuel docks were here, big, huge oil tankers sat at City Dock. Today, it's a parking lot. This delegation, this county, this city, we get to choose what direction this City Dock is going to go for the next 50 years. The $18 million is a one-time ask, and we say thank you. Not only will we be providing a world-class park for the public and for residents and regional people in the city, but we will also be providing a barrier against sea level rise. And so we know that this city floods, and it was not a plan, but you know, on the first day of session, many of the delegates of our state leaders could not get into their hotel because of the flooding. So, you know, it is not a case of if there's going to be another Isabel, it's a case of when there is going to be another Isabel. When this park and this City Dock Resilience Project is finished, we will be protected against the next Isabel. So the flood that you saw a month ago, and we just came off of our state of emergency, the businesses on Dock Street are not back on their feet. Again, a huge thank you for that enabling legislation, letting me be able to declare a local state of emergency so that we could get money to those businesses. Thank you, Senator Elfreth, for highlighting that and helping us move that forward. But those businesses are still not open. So we have to move this project forward as quickly as possible. It wouldn't be possible without the state support. So a huge thank you. Secondly, I want to, sorry. Secondly, this is what happens when you let me work the slides.
There you go.
Secondly, on the pilot, thank you again, Speaker Bush. When I first came into office, when I didn't know what the hell I was doing, I asked him, can we increase the pilot for the city? The pilot had sat at $350,000 for a couple of decades, no cost of living increases. You know, as a state capital, we have to have bomb squads and all sorts of different things that other cities don't have to. We have to staff protests, parades, all sorts of things that come with being a state capital, which we love. But thank you for supporting the pilot and keeping that going. The second thing, outside of the resiliency thing, and it's really the two big asks that I'm making at this session, is about housing. We know the governor has talked about that being a priority for you all and for us in Maryland. It is a national crisis, the shortage of housing that we have. We have an amazing project that is going to change lives at Harbour House and Eastport Terrace. If you've ever been to that section of Eastport, you know Eastport is the tale of two cities, multi-millionaires living next door to people with the least resources. The HUD property that does not belong to us, Harbour House and Eastport Terrace, has been through a 2-year C&I project, a choice neighborhood initiative. We pulled down $500,000 to develop a plan. That amazing plan is going to change the lives of the people that live in that community, but is also going to change the lives of the whole city, the area. We're going to build a beautiful new development around a central park. We're going to dredge Hawkins Cove. We're going to give people water access and water views. And we're also going to insert 350 extra units into this complex. Workforce housing, desperately needed workforce housing. With C&I, if you qualify and if your project is attractive enough, you get $30 million from HUD. So we $30 to $50 million from HUD, and that really makes it attractive for developers to want to do the project. We also are going to be putting forward $1 million from the city of Annapolis. In this upcoming budget, we're asking the state to match that $1 million to bring to this city desperately needed housing and to transform an area that really has been abandoned. We know that HUD has sort of defunded public housing in a way. So you can imagine what happens when the money gets less and the buildings get older and they are unmaintained. So we're looking forward to knocking those terrible buildings down and building a brand new place that we can be proud of, and that we can all say that this is a national model and this is the way you have to do it. We've got to stop just warehousing poor people all in the same location. We have to reimagine how we work with people who are less fortunate than us. So I'm excited to get that project across the line. We really are asking for you to support these matching $1 million for pre-development costs for Harbour House, Eastport Terrace. And we are moving some of the residents over to Spa Road. If you've ever been to Spa Road, we have a great opportunity site on Spa Road. We've moved public works off of there. We've rebuilt it out off of West Street on Hudson Street. And then we're going to put some housing on that location too, along with a lot of things that will connect Maryland Hall over to the Cal Ripken Field, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Senior Center. The third ask, which is really the second ask, is $500,000 for a trail called the College Creek Connector. And that is a thing that you will see every year when you come in for session across the Roe Boulevard Bridge. You'll look to your left and you'll look to your right, and you'll see a beautiful boardwalk on College Creek. This boardwalk will connect communities that have been cut off from the water, that were never really considered. It will be a place for people to mobilize, get to work, get to recreation, or just exercise, or just go down and throw a fishing pole over the side and really get to enjoy the waterfront the way they should. It connects the communities on Clay Street, West Washington Street, Oberry Court. It connects Bloomsbury Square, a waterfront property that was never given water views or access to the water. We're going to correct that, get a chance for you to ride past the beautiful St. John's College, the oldest college, the third oldest college in America, and then connect onto the B&A Trail out to the rest of the county, across the Seven River Bridge. And it's really, for me, something that we need to be talking about more. We need these connecting trails. It has to be something we consider for the future. We're all talking about electrifying our cars, but we need to create safe biking and pedestrian infrastructure so that we can move around our cities on bikes or on electric bikes or something like that. But we're never going to do that conversion. We're never going to achieve the Danish model, half the country going to work on bikes, unless we build the infrastructure. And that really has to be part of the conversation, because we can't just do it alone. If you just electrify every single car, it's still traffic. And so we have to think about making it safe for people to move around our city. We are building a trailer networks east and west, north and south, that will make this city a beautiful, bikeable, safe city to move around and connect us to the rest of the county and make your state capital an even better place to live. So again, sorry for being late. Appreciate all of the amazing support that you've shown me so far. Thank you for getting behind us on the City Dock project. We are all going to be proud of that. It's going to place that we bring our families, that we come and show off to the rest of the country and the rest of the world, because this is a world-class city, and it's because of you all and your support and your leadership. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Buckley. And I want to apologize. I think I threw you off a little bit. I usually do a lot of intro, and I'm trying to make sure that I'm giving our speakers as much time as possible. But I think it's not a bad thing for our folks to see the realities of working parents in office. So thank you for being here, and I apologize if I made you scramble a bit. I'm going to go ahead and open it up to our members for any questions. Do that so I can see. And I have a hand from Delegate Chisholm, followed by Delegate Bartlett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you, Governor Buckley. I appreciate that you didn't bring any big ideas to us. I'm going to talk to you offline about that, because it is a lot, and I really do appreciate all your vision for. So I'm just going to focus on esports. I am interested. Is that going to be a P3? And you're just doing, I'm assuming you're going through the engineering, the architecture, all that, and that's where you need the upfront money. Do you have a vision of when that would start?
So, and I'd love to take you down there if you have any time this session, or any of you would come and walk the property with me. You know, it's an amazing property, and it has a big open field, and it has a set of offices that are on the waterfront, that if we demolish the offices and if we built on the field, we could move forward with a first phase of the project. And so, and because we have 350 families that have to go somewhere, there is nowhere for them to go. So, you know, building some places, and I'm going to fast track the permits for that first phase, whatever we can do, because the longer the people that live there have to live in those conditions, the worse the conditions are going to get. So, you know, you can't tell, but there are mold issues and infestation issues. And we inspect now, you know, the federal government was supposed to be inspecting those properties. They were not adequately inspecting them. You know, it's been a big drama here trying to get the inspection process in place. The housing authority are really, you know, don't have the funds really to maintain and keep up. A lot of the residents aren't, you know, not paying the rent, which is a revenue stream for them, because they don't feel like they should. And there is definitely, you know, they definitely have a case to be made there. But we have a authority that, you know, has that sort of, you know, is in desperate need of what we're trying to do here. And so I'm trying to do anything I can to move that project forward. So my dream scenario is we have picked a developer before I leave office. We have in a dream world, we have a shovel in the ground on the area we can build on. Over on Spa Road, and I'm just going to name drop here, I was walking around with Coach Belichick yesterday, because, you know, the Belichick Foundation are looking for legacy things. We could do an amazing development over there with an upgrade of the fields, a complex, maybe bring in Cal Ripken's foundation as well, do some housing. The city would have the ability to also build some extra housing that we could do for purchase, so that we can help people break that cycle. And maybe there's plenty of people that live in public housing that have been working their jobs their whole lives, pay their rent on time, but have missed the boat. They'll never have a chance to buy in this expensive city. But if we could help them get into home ownership, that would be that one building block for wealth that they could get a shot at, you know. But C&I has to be for rent. So we're going to go from 350 units to 700 units. We have got the Eastport Civic Association in agreement with that as the best path forwards. That is an achievement itself, to get the surrounding neighbors to agree with that. Because when and I'm doing a tour to Baltimore to a C&I location soon. Another one over in Delaware we're going to go and see. C&I, Choice Neighborhood Initiative, is the way forward. Mixed use, workforce housing, a revenue stream for people that live there, so we can put that into services. So anytime you want, Delegate Chisholm, I'd love to take you around.
I appreciate that, and I love that you're bringing in some private sector. But when I say P3, I don't mean Patriot 3, just so you know.
Yeah, no, definitely private. So yeah, and I can take you over there on my big illegal dinghy if you want to come for a boat ride over there.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Chisholm. Delegate Bartlett.
Stuff he gets away with. I swear to God, it's because of his accent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Mr. Mayor, it's always a pleasure to see you. And I echo our chair's comments about seeing working families. So you caught your breath and you immediately jumped into gear there. So I appreciate that. I have two quick questions. One is, could you elaborate a little bit on the flood controls that were going to be in the revival of City Dock, or the reimagination of City Dock, along with any flood controls that are going to be in place with the upcoming connections? Beautiful. Just want to make sure that, you mentioned it. I just kind of wanted to know what tool's going to be in place, if you have that information yet.
Yep. I know that back to front. So, we did a Netherlands trip with the Secretary of Planning and the Deputy Secretary of Emergency Management, and to look at their water management techniques. They lead the world in that. It verified that we are doing the right thing for this particular location. So there's three ways that we're going to stop the water in this location. When we raise the parking lot 6 feet, that 6 feet increase is going to be a barrier itself. And then as you come down past where the old Harbour Master's office is, you're going to see there's going to be some in-ground flood barriers, and those flood barriers come up with the water level rise. And so they will pop up all the way around to the Alex Haley statue when we need them, right? And then from the Alex Haley statue, there will be some flip-up gates. So that's the second version. There's a flip-up gate and a gate that we can put in place when we need to. So we're designed all the way to 70% of flood protection. Then we are working now with the Fleet Reserve, with Chop Tank, and with the hotel on what way we're going to protect them. Now, in the worst case scenario, we could just build around them and raise the road on Compromise Street. If any of you stay at the Waterfront Hotel, you'll know that got flooded the other day, right out in front of the hotel. So imagine that road could be raised if we really needed to do that. We're not going to need to do that. The new hotel passes people are going to spend a couple of $1 million on a renovation there. They're going to want to protect their asset as well. We're in conversations with them, conversations with the Fleet Reserve. I know they're reaching out to you. And then also the Dutch flood barrier that we used just to keep the road open yesterday, or this whole week actually, on Compromise. That solution is also a solution if you wanted to do it. There's a version of that where you have a track screwed down kind of on your bulkhead, and you can just slide the whole sort of caterpillar structure into this track, and then that can keep you dry as well. There's maybe a 1% seepage on that, but really that's really minimal. So we have a design. We have a world-class team in place. They built the garage in a year. When we close down City Dock, the day the boat show finishes this year, they will go to town and they will have the park turned around and the park ready for the boat show in 1 year. But they won't have the whole flood protection finished in 25. I'll be out of office and they'll button everything else up in 26. And so but it will be done, and it will be done around, and I say this around everybody's election, the new governor's election. This is an achievement for all of us. to point to, you know, and it is getting attention because of the P3 that we're using, because of the creative way we financed it, because of the consensus we built, because of the story we're going to tell in the park. The parking lot, you know, wasn't that attractive, but what we're going to build is a park where everybody feels welcome and everybody's history is told. And so you kind of get a twofer. You get a barrier against sea level rise and catastrophic weather events, but you also get an amazing public space out of it.
Great. Well, thank you for that. A quick second question, if I may, Madam Chair, and that is with respect to federal infrastructure money. Will there be federal infrastructure money applied to these projects?
Yeah, there already is a bunch of earmarks. There's a massive $30 million FEMA grant that's in the, you know, these are historic amounts of money that the city and this state is going to get through these projects and through the projects we've got throughout the region. But I say you don't just get given that money. You have to have a qualifying, well thought out plan, and you have to have a path forward. And you know, so you can talk about a plan, but there's a difference between talking about it and having already designed it. And because we're so far ahead in our design and of this project, we qualified for some big numbers, and it's money that came through the state. And then we're just waiting on the final FEMA sign-offs now.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much, Delegate Bartlett.
Thank you very much, Delegate and Mr. Mayor. I want to thank you for your vision and for your enthusiasm, because you know, I think without you sort of driving this project with enthusiasm and optimism, I think you're right. I don't think we would be where we are. I also think I'm hearing from the delegation a potential walking tour with the mayor during the interim. So we'll look at doing a delegation tour. And I just had one question for you, Mr. Mayor, because I love the City Dock Park project, but I always have to bear in mind our businesses, that their businesses on the water. And do you envision, I saw that there is a brick sidewalk on the plans. Do you see that as a multi-use, like maybe there could be deliveries in the morning, or if people have mobility issues that they can go to because we have watermark cruises and they have to have deliveries. Musicians need to be able to bring their equipment. Do you see that as a multi-use, or is it entirely pedestrianized and bikes and pedestrians?
So, you know, the delivery trucks will get to the harbor master's office. So they will have to move a little further than they do today, and the buses will not come up as far as they do today. But it's only a block, right? And so, and it's going to be beautiful wide promenades that we can open up if we need to in a special situation, such as we could open it up for coffee and cars. You know, we could have some cars that are parked around the fountain there. We could open it up for golf carts, obviously for cyclists and different things like that. And then, and so a lot of the delivery trucks have, you know, electric sort of mobilized carts and stuff like that. There's a little bit of distance to go. So, you know, that is a little bit of a hardship maybe for watermark cruisers. But we are really working with them on how we accommodate them during the construction, trying to move some of their capacity closer to down Ego Alley. But it's a beautiful walk, and it really, you know, and that's what we're trying to point out. This is an amazing walkable city, and it's worth the walk, I say.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for being here today. And again, thank you for your vision and for your enthusiasm. And we look forward to scheduling a walking tour so we can experience even more of that on the ground.
I'd love to do that. And thank you all for your support, and thank you all for putting up with me. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
And we're going to turn to our next guest, Reverend Dr. Ricky Nelson Jones from the Anne Arundel County NAACP. Welcome, Dr. Jones, and please feel free to welcome your team.
Thank you, Chair Bagnall. Also, I appreciate your prompt and professional response when I sent out an email to you concerning being here present. I want you to know I appreciate that. Today, I have two wonderful ladies from NAACP, Dr. Mary Dodoni, who's my chair of the Education Committee, and also Ms. Leah Green, who's also the chair of my prison committee. She's also the president of Maryland Cure. They're going to be discussing education as well as healthcare and plus criminal justice and police reform. I'm going to allow these two wonderful ladies to speak first, and then I will proceed with other matters on the agenda. Dr. Dodoni, you may proceed.
Thank you very much. I'm going to speak to education. You received an agenda from us with the written comments. I'm going to read them. For the people viewing, I'm going to ask you to listen because one hears differently than one reads. With respect to education, we seek legislation, this means future legislation, putting an end to school arrests by police of marginalized students, who are 85% of all school arrests, for conduct that does not place lives in serious danger. Alternatives: in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, mandatory conferences with parents for each offense, mental health care, parenting classes, alternative schools, and I want to add restorative practices are all options. Disproportionately connecting marginalized children to the criminal justice system, which is our current situation, is de facto discriminatory. Anne Arundel leads all state counties in arrests of students, 444. In light of the over-arresting of marginalized students in Maryland schools, the idea of police officers in schools must be reevaluated. Law enforcement without the police officer's mindset of arrest and subdue must be considered. Sheriff's deputies, different mindset, seems to be a better alternative since the protection from serious danger remains in place, but the mindset of arrest and subdue is replaced with one of serve and protect, like with the warrants and securing the court personnel already performed by the Sheriff's Department. This idea would be less costly to the county, and it can aid in evaluating the important role of our elevating the important role of our Sheriff's Department and bring much needed funds to them. So comment here is we need to evaluate, and from my perspective, from the NAACP perspective, we need to evaluate all our policies, practices in light of an equity lens. There is tremendous inequity in school arrests. There are multiple perspectives. We need to come together and reconsider the role of the police officers in the current safety resource officer program. We need to do it with an eye to keeping youngsters, and in our case, because of the disproportionate impact, children of color out of the criminal justice system. Thank you very much.
Okay, Sister Green, if you don't mind going forward, unless there's a question.
Dr. Jones, do you want to hold questions till you complete your presentation, and then we'll open it up to the members?
That's fine.
Okay. Good morning. Excuse me. Good morning, everyone. My name is Leah Green, and I'm president of national organization Maryland Cure, and I'm a proud member of Anne Arundel County NAACP. I'm also the mother of a life. I wear two hats. I have to say this, there's no victory lap here. It's a lot of pain on both sides. I recognize that. We all suffer from tragedies that hit our families. But I want to share with you all what is happening behind the walls. Maryland Cure is fully engaged with behind the wall citizens who have no voice. So we are the voice for the voiceless. And there is just no winners in none of this. And so I'm hoping for understanding. And I'm not taking a victory lap here. I'm just hoping that we can understand that we're in this together. We also support the correctional husband bill. That is very important. It gives us an opportunity to get some independent solutions, remedies, if you will, about what's going on behind the walls. And I do invite everybody to make a point to go behind the walls yourself and do your own homework. But we have on the table a correctional husband bill that was very well done February the 7th with Linda. She's our partner with Major. I'm a partner with Major, and we had a wonderful support with that Wednesday. So we also have it's just all exciting. I have to give a shout out for Senator Hedelman and Senator West, because they're stepping to the plate, bipartisan plate, and they're getting things done. And I believe that's the way to get things done. So I do want to give them a shout out. We also have to understand that I just get so, I don't mean to, but it's so much unanswered questions out here that people don't know. We deal with a lot of behind the wall activities. I have a mama, I call her a mother, whose son had 108 years, no homicide, drug use. That young man is behind the walls working on his master's at Georgetown University. So I say all that to say people change. There's nothing you can do about the charge, but I do wish that everybody would take the time to check out some of these stories. We have a lot to talk about. So it's just so much going on. Today, we just working on so many things that we trying to bring to the front. And that, I mean, we have 10-year-olds that's getting into fights, run to the father's car, go in the glove compartment, get a gun, 10 years old. This is huge. We have parents taking children back to the source of fighting. It's a lot going on out here, and I'm beginning to believe that mental illness is alive and well in our community, in this country. And I think that and I have to say this, Maryland leads the country in the incarceration of Black men. And this is coming from Justice Policy Report. We have enough data, we have enough statistics to show that we can do better. We're better paid people. We're better everything. I can go on, but I just want to, we just can't make this stuff up. Mental illness is a serious thing that's going on in our midst. And so we like to say we have to get away from this tough on crime. We have the statistics, we have the data to show it don't work. And we need to get rid, I have to repeat what my president say, we have to stop studying and start remedying. We have to find solutions to some of this that's going on. I think everybody know the elephant in the room, and I think we need to start coming together, bipartisan, and get things done. Our children's life is at stake. All of us love our children. All of us care about our people. We have to understand that. So I'd like to say in closing, felons can vote. March 10th, 2016, all felons can vote. So that's a friendly reminder. We are out here watching, and we support those who support us. I think I can just, I just want to thank all of you all for giving me an opportunity to talk. I'm here for any questions, and please go visit inside the walls and see what's going on. And you might be pleasantly surprised. And I will have to say, Olinda Moya is our partner with Major. She did a wonderful article called on mass incarceration. We are all part of the problem, and I can vouch for that. We all have something to do with what's going on, and I think we can do this. I think we're better people, and I guess I'll close with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Green. And what if you can share that article with our office, we'll make sure we share it out with the delegation.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Green and Dr. Dodoni, thank you for your presentation, and thank you for all that you do for the NAACP. At this point here, before I get to the other matters in our agenda, I want to follow up very briefly with something Dr. Dodoni pointed out. I don't know how many of you had a chance to look at the data that came out in March 2023 about the arrests in the schools in the state. Anne Arundel County is leading all jurisdictions in terms of arrest of students. And while the NAACP has always been opposed to police in the school, with the mass shootings that have been occurring, that argument, so to speak, can't weigh as heavily as we thought it was, as we thought it did. But there is an alternative. Sheriff's deputies have a different mindset. And when we get statistics, these arrest statistics that came out in March 2023, it was shocking. When we get statistics, the reason why we get them is so that we can change our approach. So clearly, police officers in the school with their mindset of arrest and subdue is no longer a wise thing to do. We have to get sheriff deputies with a different mindset to serve and protect. And so at this point here, I just want to support what Dr. Dodoni said. Concerning Sister Leah Green about this, getting an independent office almost, separated from the parole and probation. It's a very important because that's very effective, because many people in prison are making complaints. Their parents are making complaints and nothing is happening. The reason why I want to back up what she said about this is because I have a relative in Louisiana who got in prison 20 years for just having an argument in the community with somebody. While the person was in prison, my relative was calling me as an attorney about things that were going on. And when I got in contact with the warden's office and things of that nature, each time I reached out to them, a change occurred. They stopped doing what they were doing to them. So having an independent entity, apart from parole and arrest and things of this nature, can be very effective in helping these people in prison with legitimate and valid complaints. Now, going to the other matters of importance here on our legislative agenda, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to ask, and I hope that everyone had a chance to not only read the agenda in full, but also the attachments there too. One of the things that the NAACP is interested in is diversifying the judiciary. I tried to share in detail in the proposed bill an effective way to diversify the judiciary. I do know that Pam Bidle and Sarah Alford did come forward a couple of legislative sessions ago with a bill, and their hearts were in the right place. But the magnitude of this problem of non-diversity in the judiciary and the depth with which it holds onto the judiciary was not satisfied, in my view, by that proposed bill they had, by that bill they had. This bill that I proposed from the NAACP goes straight to the heart of diversifying. It also deals with this at every level. It deals with this both at the judicial level as well as the executive level with the governor. Now, let me say this. The reason why we are here now to try and get support for this proposed bill is because administratively, this has not worked. My law office has already gone to EEOC concerning this matter. And also in the judiciary, there's been no desire whatsoever to change the non-diverse judiciary. My law office has filed a lawsuit against this state to the highest court in this state, as well as the United States Supreme Court. I have been successful in my law office in getting a writ of certiorari before the United States Supreme Court granted. So it's not so much that. The problem is the courts kept dismissing it procedurally. They never dealt with the facts and the statistics. The facts and the statistics eliminate any question from anybody. No judge, no lawyer, no legislator, no layperson can question the fact that we have a serious problem in the judiciary with non-diversity. The Judicial Nominating Commission has a long history of racial exclusion. And when I was before them a year ago, I stated to all of those on that panel that this Judicial Nominating Commission has a terrible history of racial exclusion. And the first thing they asked me was, Reverend Jones, you here to get our vote, but why are you insulting us? That's the problem. For you to think that statistical facts are an insult, that is part of the problem. We have to change our mindset and diversify the judiciary. This state is about approximately 40% non-Caucasian. Therefore, my community is paying our taxes to take care of the salary of these judges. This is taxation without representation to the letter. So all of a sudden, you're going to exclude more objectively qualified non-white folk from the bench, but take our tax money to pay your salary? That is outrageous, and is one of the most offensive concepts in all of democracy. So this bill that we're proposing goes straight to the heart of the matter and making sure that we get real diversity, and also the governor understands you are not bound by the Judicial Nominating Commission, who has a long history of racial exclusion. The next thing I want to talk about is I'm not sure if you're familiar with the move of extremists of getting younger and younger people involved in it. And if you are familiar with that, then you will know there's a need to make our hate crime punishment stronger. As it exists presently, somebody can kill somebody in a commission of a hate crime and maximally serve 30 years. If you recruit extremists at a young age, 15, 16, things of that nature, they get out of prison in their 40s and they committed a hate crime that resulted in a homicide. And so the need to have stronger penalties for hate crimes is consistent with what's going on in the present. Sometimes we think these extremists are dumb, but they are not. If you recruit younger and younger and younger, then the folk get out and they still have their whole life before them. So there's a need to increase the penalties for hate crimes, not 30 years, 50 or 60 years, to become a real deterrent to hate crime and criminal behavior of that nature. Next thing I want to share is we support the Office of the Public Defender. This increased funding for indigent defense. The increased funding for indigent defense is absolutely critical. I'm leaning towards saying that if you're not practicing law every day on a regular basis, you may not fully appreciate this. Because I do practice law on a regular basis every day. If you do not have sufficient money, you can be pretty certain you're not going to get the type of competent representation you need. My relative in Louisiana, who hasn't paid me a dime, it took 5 years of legal work, pro bono for my law office, and he finally got out. I can't imagine anybody giving competent, effective legal representation if they're not being paid. I did it out of love, but I told them, when you get out, go play the lottery because you owe me a third of whatever you recover, because this is a lot of work. And so the public defender's request for additional funds is absolutely essential and necessary to ensure that those poor people coming to get defense in these criminal matters can have effective legal counsel. One other thing, I don't have to really elaborate on reparations. If you read my article, it was basically historical and scholastic. Reparations are not about emotions. They're not about giving. They're not about granting anything. They're about returning in a just way what is due. Too often when we talk about reparations, we don't view it from a scholastic and historical perspective. And I hope everyone read the article, because that's what it dealt with explicitly, showing how America is what America is because of the sacrifices of my ancestors. So we're no longer in a place where anybody can debate whether reparations are due. That is past. That is fundamental in the justice system in America, that you make the wrong whole. So we're beyond that now. And also they have been granted in this country to, like, the Sioux Indians or those who in turn Japanese descent. It has been done. So we do understand the concept of making the wrong whole. So it's not talking about that. It just so happens that when it comes to the descendants of slaves, all of a sudden we can't think clearly. We understand when you've been wrong, you're entitled to be made whole. That's what reparations is about. And the National NAACP has been fighting for this since 1991, right after John Conyers introduced the I believe it's House of Representatives Bill 40 to get a commission to study. Listen, we don't need to study this anymore. The facts are crystal clear. We need to remedy it. The same thing I said to the judges who had this work group to study diversity. There's no need to study that. And around the entire country, there's the absence of diversity on the bench. And how in the world can you take my money to pay your salary and exclude me from being represented? It is absolutely unacceptable, and it goes against everything democracy stands for. So that's all I want to share right now. Also, one last thing. This effort year after year after year to get rid of contested judicial elections is offensive. It is my firm belief that the people do not know the history and the depth of racial exclusion in the judiciary, because that's on one of the few, as a matter of fact, probably the only other tool we have to diversify the bench. If you get rid of that, you have made permanent almost non-diversity. Thank you, Chair Bagnall. I appreciate the opportunity.
President Jones, may I speak to the healthcare issue for a moment?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. We provided you with the legislative position of the Anne Arundel County branch of the NAACP with regard to healthcare, which is to make the Maryland Healthcare Exchange option available to lower income young adults, and also to residents regardless of immigration status, and to automatically enroll recipients of SNAP into Medicaid, those who are eligible into Medicaid. These things do not, aside from the supported funding for the young adults, cost more. This is allowing, from my area of passion, immigrants who are already paying taxes, to pay for their health insurance. At this point, they can't get health insurance. The cost to the county and to the state is much greater. They're showing up in emergency rooms in dire condition because they can't get coverage to be seen on a routine preventative basis. The place I'm most aware of it is that they're seen in mental health crises when they could have been seen in non-crisis conditions. Delegate Pena-Melnick, thank you from the bottom of my heart for fighting for this. Thank you all for fighting for this. It is a big issue.
One last point, Chair, if you don't mind. One of the things that I want to emphasize here is that concerning this bill, this proposed bill, Delegate Simmons and I had a good chance to talk in his office, and I gave him these statistics and the facts to show that nobody can oppose a diverse judiciary. But one of the things I want to say is that when you have any type of bill to deal with a deep-rooted racial exclusionary wrong, the bill cannot have a remedy that is in any shape, form, or fashion complicated. You cannot have a bill in which the remedy requires a PhD pursuit, but the discrimination was elementary thing. And so the bill must not be complicated. And this bill that we're proposing is a very simple bill. It goes straight to the heart of the problem, and it deals with the issue. Thank you, Chair Bag.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for your presentation. And you have a lot of expertise on this delegation that take these concerns very seriously. Got 3 members of the Health and Government Operations Committee who, we spend the lion's share of our time working on access issues. And you have 3 members of the judiciary who also, are constantly reconciling with the will of Maryland voters, which seems to put their thumb on the scale of rehabilitation. So I appreciate all of your hard work and advocacy. I want to open it up to the members for any questions. All right, seeing none, thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you for the hard work that you do. And we are going to continue our relationship and also introduce our next speaker, who is Mr. Ricky Smith, the Director and CEO of the Baltimore Washington International Thurgood Marshall Airport, for an update. Welcome, Mr. Smith.
Good morning. First, let me confirm that you can hear me.
If you could get a little closer to your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first of all, again, Chair Bagnall, thank you so much for you and the delegation for allowing me to speak this morning. I do have with me Diana Leon Brown, who is the new Chief of Staff for the Maryland Aviation Administration. But Chair, I will say, given his amazing oratory skills and his enthusiasm, it is not fair to have me speak after Reverend Jones. No one should have to speak after Reverend Jones. That being said, again, thank you. And I do appreciate the opportunity to talk about BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport and the importance that it plays in Anne Arundel County. I sincerely appreciate the leadership and the support that the delegation in Annapolis has shown the airport. And we are extremely proud that BWI Marshall Airport calls Anne Arundel County home. I want to acknowledge Delegate Gary Simmons and thank him for his legislation that was discussed earlier this morning, House Bill 573. I'll talk more in depth about our commitment to local communities in a few moments, but I want to emphasize that We take our role as being community anchor and a good neighbor very seriously. The Community Enhancement Grant Program is a good example of that commitment. This initiative is intended to bring some benefit.
Director Smith, I'm having a hard time hearing you. I don't know if it's your volume or.
Let me see if I can do something about.
I turned the volume all the way up on my computer, but it's still really hard.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can do something about the volume.
I don't know if your microphone's a little low, or you can keep going. I'm just having a hard time hearing you. I don't know if anybody else is.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to increase. Hold on. Here you go. Right here. Let me see. Here you go. Can you hear me better now?
No, if you could just speak up.
Okay.
Apologies. I think we all turned our volume up, but
Okay.
thank you
And
very much.
I just turned the volume of the mic up.
Oh,
So
there we go. That was good.
okay. Yeah,
That's a lot better. Thank you for that.
Okay, you're welcome. So again, this initiative is important to us, and it is intended to bring support to communities that otherwise wouldn't get this support, and we truly appreciate it. Over the past 20 years, more than $5 million has been provided for our local communities through this program. And again, we appreciate Delegate Simmons for his work to slightly expand the Citizens Committee to include one additional member. And from the airport perspective, we pledge to work with other members of this committee to make sure that we are providing you the information that you need so that your constituents can benefit from the good work of this committee. In addition, we've just completed our 2023 community report, which highlights our work and investment within our 4 pillars. Our 4 pillars are community, military, youth, and environment. We will make this report available to you over the next few days. And so we're very excited about this release, and we hope you find it beneficial. So as you know, the airport plays a critical role in supporting travel and tourism here in Maryland. The airport and our airline partners support critical commerce, including business development, cargo operations, and tourism. We just completed an updated economic impact study that tells a very positive story for BWR Marshall Airport and, quite frankly, for Anne Arundel County. Our new data shows that BWR Marshall Airport produces a total economic impact of over $11 billion, $11.3 billion. That's up from $9 billion. This includes more than $780 million in state and local tax revenue. And the airport creates and supports over 107,000 jobs throughout the region. Thousands of those employees are your constituents right here in Anne Arundel County. In fact, our updated report finds that 25% of the direct jobs at the airport are Anne Arundel County residents, and so we're very proud of that. In terms of the business of the airport, our airline and our passenger traffic have nearly reached pre-pandemic levels. New and established airline partners are adding new domestic and international routes on a regular basis. We anticipate a very, very strong 2024. By the end of the summer, we expect to be routinely at or above our 2019 or pre-pandemic levels. Moving on to some improvements that we are engaged. As we prepare for that continued success, we have a very strong capital program underway to support our customers and our airline partners. We have several large-scale, multi-year capital projects underway that will continue to shape BWR Marshall for the decades to come. Our $55 million restroom improvement program, for example, is expanding and enhancing 6 sets of restrooms throughout the airport. Last fall, these improved restrooms were recognized with America's Best Restroom Award, making these restrooms the best restrooms in the country. This was a very positive and prestigious accomplishment for our engineering, construction, and our custodial team. Southwest Airlines is making excellent progress on the construction of its major maintenance facility. As the first Southwest maintenance hangar in the Northeast U.S., the hangar will support the airline's skilled maintenance personnel and their important work. Today, they're performing important work on aircraft in the elements, which is not a desirable condition for them to work in. In December, the construction team lifted a massive truss into place, which was a final major structural element of the hangar to be built. And the major multi-year Concourse AB and baggage handling system program will transform the passenger experience and provide additional capacity for Southwest Airlines. This is the largest single capital project in the airport's history. Last month, the contractors marked a major milestone in the project when the final steel support beam was hoisted into place. And again, moving back to our community, our focus on community, I do want to take a brief moment to again highlight our commitment to the community. Since 2017, we have actively worked with local residents and elected officials to create and support the DC Metroplex BWI Community Roundtable, which has worked with the FAA to make important modifications to airline flight procedures near BWI Marshall Airport. It is important to note that this is one of several relationships we have to address important issues or opportunities with the airports and airports community. Thanks to the many hours and good work of the roundtable and MA staff, the FAA is working to revise local flight procedures that should address many community concerns related to aircraft noise. So I want to acknowledge and thank the roundtable for its commitment and the important work on this issue. The FAA anticipates that it will be implementing the new procedures in May of this year, only a few short months from now. I would also like to briefly mention a new state law that recently increased the size of the Maryland Aviation Commission by 4 members, including 2 specifically representing Anne Arundel County. Commissioners Ned Carey, former delegate Ned Carey, that you all know very well, and Mary Reese, 2 commissioners now that are representing this county. They're already providing valuable guidance and resource, and we look forward to working with them on behalf of the airport and the state, and ensuring that they bring the interests of this county to bear. Our work to be a good neighbor with our communities goes back many years. We have participated in the FAA's voluntary noise compatibility program since the 1980s. As a matter of fact, we're recognized as an industry leader in this program, as we were among the first airports in the country to participate in this initiative. Under the program, sound insulation is provided for eligible residents and schools to help reduce aircraft noise or the impact of aircraft noise. Over the years, we helped more than 700 local homeowners and 4 schools to participate in the program. And we are now embarking on the next phase of this sound installation program, which will benefit many more local residents. This will ultimately include sound installation solutions for up to 136 additional single-family homes, 17 additional multi-family structures, which include more than 300 units. So with that, again, Chair, I want to thank the Anne Arundel County delegation for the opportunity this morning. BWI Marshall Airport is an important resource, as you all recognize, to this county, to its residents, and to the visitors. As such, we appreciate the chance to talk to you. I will now make myself available to answer whatever questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And I'm going to open it up to the members. Well, it looks like you did an extraordinary presentation because I do see a hand from Delegate Bartlett.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Mr. Smith, for being here. I'm sorry I couldn't get my virtual hand up fast enough. I would like, if you don't mind, if you could repeat, because I'm not sure I got it right, but could you repeat the revenue number that you gave? I knew it was in the billions, but I didn't get the full figure.
Yes. So the economic impact numbers is what you're referring to. So
yes.
So the latest study, latest economic impact study concludes that the impact of the airport is $11.3 billion annually. That comes with over $780 million in state and local tax revenues, which is a spinoff from over 107,000 jobs, direct and indirect jobs that are associated with the activities at the airport.
Great. I heard the 3, and I only noted 3 billion, but I knew it was more than that. So thank you very much. 11.3 billion is absolutely fantastic. I appreciate you being here.
And I went on to say, probably more important to this audience, is that 25% of those jobs are county, Anne Arundel County residents.
Yep, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Bartlett. Great question to revisit those numbers because they're really important. And thank you again for all the work you do and for being such a good partner with us. I know that we're very proud to have the airport in Anne Arundel County and really appreciate all the jobs and growth and that they create for our county and for our state.
Okay, well, thank you. I always appreciate this opportunity. Diana Long Brown, who is our new chief of staff, is leading us on all things external, and she has already lifted our efforts to be more engaged in the community in a real and impactful way. And so the evidence that you see is a product of her leadership. So I want to thank her and acknowledge her while she's on the call.
Thank you, Ricky. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. If I may do a quick plug, on February 27th, we are having our legislative reception at the Calvert House, where we will be displaying all of the community activities in which we engage with Anne Arundel County, Howard County, and all the resources that are available for all of our neighbors and your constituents. So I hope we will see you there on February 27th.
Thank you so much. We look forward to joining you. With that, we're going to turn to next week. We will be voting on the bill that we heard today, which I didn't put the number in front of me. I apologize. We'll be holding additional hearings on county bills, and we'll welcome Colonel Sapp from Fort Meade, Secretary of Agriculture Kevin Addix, and Dr. Jana Davis from the Chesapeake Bay Trust. If you have a local bill and you are not on the schedule, please contact Secretary Massey today. Be good stewards of your bills. Of course, the filing deadline was 5 o'clock yesterday. So if you have outstanding local bills, or even mediocre, no, I'm kidding. Just make sure that you get them into us. Organizations who wish to be acknowledged can email our delegation secretary at aacd@mlis.state.md.us. Also, on behalf of myself, Delegate Pruski, Delegate Schmidt, and Senator Guile, we invite you all to join us for our district night on Monday, 6 to 8 at Red Wine. And finally, I would also like to congratulate Delegate Sandy Bartlett, Vice Chair of Judiciary, who chaired the marathon hearing yesterday like the pro that she is. The Anne Arundel County delegation and the class of 2019 are very proud of you. Do we have any other announcements from the members? Seeing none, can I have, I see a hand from Delegate Rogers.
I know there are a lot of things going on Monday evening, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Monday evening from 6 to 8, and I know Ricky Smith will appreciate this, is Blue White Night in Annapolis. So Sigmas and Zetas from all across the state will be here in Annapolis. They will be meeting with their representatives from the different districts. There will be a resolution provided on the floor of both the House and the Senate. So expect to see a blue and white wave. Sorry, Ricky. And so I just wanted to put that out there to everybody.
Thank you very much, Delegate Rogers. Any other comments from the members? Seeing none, if I could have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I will second. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? We are adjourned. I will see you all on the floor at 11.
Delegate Simmons, are you in the principal's office?
I'm with the top gunner here. This is our top